Better late than never. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Welcome to the week 4 already Waiver Wire show. Adam, Chris, and Heath here are going to be answering your questions. And let's get rocking and rolling here. Well, first of all, we need to get your takes on Chuba Hubbard and how much fab and how good you think he's going to be. Chris, why don't you kick it off? What do you think? I just listened to FFT and 5 from yesterday. Good job, by the way. What do you think about Chuba Hubbard? Dallas this week. If he's starting next week, it'd be Philadelphia. Is he a must-add? How much would you put in? Blah, blah, blah.
I definitely think he's a must-add. I can't think of a reason why you wouldn't, unless you just don't have a need for a running back for the next 2 weeks and you don't want to spend the fab. But if you need a running back, you should probably be trying to add Chuba Hubbard, because I don't know if he's a good football player, but I don't think Mike Davis is a particularly good football player either. And he was a must-start guy for the first 10 weeks of the season last year when Christian McCaffrey was out. So I don't see any reason to think Chuba Hubbard can't be at least, an RB2. I think he's RB 16 or 18 in my rankings right now. You should add him. I would say if you're 0-3 and you need a running back, I would say 40% of your fab.
All right, Heath, what about you? Will he get more than 2 carries like Miles Sanders got last night against the Dallas Cowboys?
I would expect that he will get more than 2 carries, and I think he'll probably even catch more than 3 passes that Miles Sanders caught. So, yeah, I mostly agree with what Chris said. I don't think 40% is going to get it done. I had said that I'd probably go in a vacuum. 26% would be my bid for Hubbard. But if you think about it, it just takes one guy in your league being desperate and 0-3 for a running back, and that guy is going to spend more than 40% of his fab. So I think you have to look at your situation and really just kind of think about it. Like, if I lose the next week or 2, does it really matter how much fab I have left?
Yeah,
if you're 0-3, if you're 0-3, it doesn't. So if you're 0-3 and have to have a running back, just spend what it takes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what the people are asking. By the way, the Dallas Cowboys defense, it has been surprisingly good. They forced 8 turnovers. That's a big part of it. I don't know that they actually have that good of a defense, but they have seen the second most pass attempts in the NFL, for obvious reasons. They're scoring a ton of points, and that's going to benefit Chuba Hubbard because they're throwing to their running backs a lot in Carolina. So keep that in mind. That hopefully gives them a little bit of a floor in PPR. Let's read some questions. Some of them are going to be start sit. Kareem Hunt or James Robinson. Come on, it's Tuesday night, but you guys already have your rankings. That's good. Kareem Hunt or James Robinson at flex?
It's James Robinson.
I mean, my answer to pretty much every start sit question on Tuesday night is ask me later in the week. But yeah, it's James Robinson's probably. I have Kareem Hunt higher in the first round of the projections.
Really? I have Robinson at RB 15 this week.
The Bengals' run defense has been awesome, and it's not like they've played a bunch of scrubs. They've played Dalvin Cook, Montgomery, and Najee Harris, and they're giving up 3 yards per carry to running backs.
They've played one good running game.
But even still, I mean, Najee Harris, 14 for 40, David Montgomery, 20 for 61, Dalvin Cook, 20 for 61.
And how is a good running game relevant to the one they're facing on Thursday night?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's not. It's just the question of whether they have a good running defense. I don't think we can say with any degree of certainty that they do.
I'm leaning toward they do. They got DJ Reader. He played like 5 games last year, and Sam Hubbard up front. And they added someone else. They added Trey Hendrickson for their pass rush. I just think they're better, but
I think I'm to the point to where I think the Bengals defense is better than average.
Yeah,
I'm unsure whether it matters in terms of the opponent, but like James Robinson is really hard to rank. I was higher on him last week, and he was really good last week. And I don't think the Carlos Hyde thing matters all that much anymore. But the Bengals are also playing super slow and running the ball like 55% of the time. If they do that, Jacksonville might get 5 possessions in this game.
All right, guys. Jacoby Myers or Robert Woods in half PPR this week?
We're not panicking that much about Robert Woods. I like Jacoby Myers. I think, Heath pointed out he has 9 and 14 targets in the 2 games that the Patriots have lost. Probably have to assume they're going to lose this week, but it's Robert Woods still.
I have them a half a point apart, but I agree with Chris. I would take Robert Woods.
Yeah, okay. I have Stephon Diggs. Should I add Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, Zach Moss, or Jacoby Myers for a flex?
So I guess when you say add, all these guys are on the waiver wire in your league, and you're talking about a top priority. I don't care that you have Diggs, really.
Yeah.
I guess that would give Sanders or Beasley potentially a little more upside if something happened to Diggs, but I would probably just start. Like, I think the one I have ranked the highest this week is Cole Beasley, so that's who I'd add.
Yeah, I do too. I like Emmanuel Sanders more long term, but I have Beasley ranked higher.
I can't give up the one running back here, though. I mean, if you're just building your team, I think I'd just pick up Zach Moss. No?
You don't get those Zach Moss points. You already missed them.
What we've seen so far is that Zach Moss, I believe, is second in the NFL in touches within the 10-yard line, or opportunities, targets plus carries. That has never been how the Bills have operated in the Josh Allen era. So are we assuming that they've just...
I always
Yes, it is.
Not true. Look at Frank Gore 2 years ago. Did he score touchdowns? No, because he was terrible. He had a ton of carries inside the 5-yard line. Like,
what's a ton relative to the rest of the league, though?
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, I can tell you right now, it was 2018, I guess. But I'm telling you, like, he just stunk, and then they went away from it. But like, it probably wasn't to this degree. But Frank Gore,
I mean, he's averaging 3.5 per game right now.
I think the Bills have had more plays inside the 5 than they often do, maybe, or at least last year.
Frank Gore had 11 carries inside the 5-yard line that year. That was like ridiculously high. That was.
And Moss has 7 in 2 games.
Yeah, no, this is obviously much higher. But there is a precedent of them. This is before Josh Allen was great. Obviously, this is 2019.
But 11 in 16 games. And how many games? That's less than once per game that you're touching the ball inside the 5.
The leader was McCaffrey at 17. 11 was still like top 12 in the NFL. It was actually a lot.
Right, but Zach Moss is splitting work at running back.
Yeah.
And he's splitting goal line work historically 3 ways.
But who's the more valuable player? Just who would you pick up off waivers if you're just building a team? Right?
Emmanuel Sanders.
All right.
If I need to start somebody this week, I'm picking up Beasley because I want to get the most points.
All right. What's your Tim Patrick outlook rest of season?
I wish I could like Tim Patrick as much as other people like Tim Patrick, but I think if things go right, then he'll be a number 3 wide receiver for you.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
Yeah. I think like Emmanuel Sanders probably has more upside. Cole Beasley probably a bit more predictable. But I think Tim Patrick is probably the number 2 wide receiver after Emmanuel Sanders on waivers for me.
Kyler Murray or Matthew Stafford?
Kyler. Actually, no. I have Matthew Stafford 1 spot higher. Sorry.
I've got Kyler 1 spot higher, but it's a coin flip. There's no telling what I'll have on Sunday morning.
I'm seriously starting Pittman, Ayuk, and Patrick as my top wide receivers.
Is that crazy? Well, are you starting them over Allen Robinson or Robert Woods? Because I could see someone talking themselves into that, but I wouldn't do it. I have Brandon Ayuk ranked 41st at wide receiver. I'm not like all the way back in on him being a must-start wide receiver.
He's not in my top 48.
Okay. Would you cut Jalen Reagor for Emmanuel Sanders?
Sure.
Yeah, but there's a 47% chance you're wishing you had Jalen Reagor and not Emmanuel Sanders next week.
From Javier, who do I bench out of these 4? Ayuk, Pittman, Woods, or Myers?
Ayuk.
Yeah, Ayuk.
Start 2 of 3. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, James Robinson, and Julio Jones. I'll definitely start Julio.
I'm probably sitting Clyde. I think I might have Clyde actually projected better than Julio, but I'd probably sit Clyde.
We'll see. With regards to Julio, his I don't know, man. The quote from Mike Vrabel, where it was originally, it was nothing. It was just the game flow, and we just wanted to, and then he had some tightness. It just feels like Julio's actually hurt, or at least dealing with something more than Mike Vrabel has wanted to let on.
All right. Miles Sanders and Darren Waller for Alvin Kamara and Jared Cook. Who wins this trade? Sanders and Waller or Kamara and Cook?
Man,
I
I think it's the Kamara side.
I was going to say, I think I'd rather, I have a little bit more confidence that things will get back on track with this week with Miles Sanders.
They lost both of their starting guards for the year now. You know, the thing that we were really banking on, one of the things we were banking on is gone.
But it's not like he hasn't had an efficiency problem. It's not that he's getting the ball a bunch and getting hit behind the line of scrimmage and has no chance. He had 2 carries and one of them went for 25 yards yesterday.
Right, but he hasn't played without the 2 starting guards. He only had 2 carries.
Yeah, he's averaging 4.4 yards before carry per attempt right now, which is
incredible,
completely unsustainable. So if the blocking is going to be worse, I would think he might have an efficiency problem.
Those stats and the after contact as well this early in the season.
Oh yeah,
I think he had 1 40-yard run where nobody touched him.
Well, no, he hasn't. His long is 24 so far this season.
So he had 2 20-yard runs where nobody touched him.
Okay. Should I drop Tim Patrick or Marquez Callaway for Rashad Bateman?
I'm fine dropping Callaway for Bateman.
Sure.
Bateman's not like super high priority for me, but I'm fine dropping Marquez Callaway.
Okay. PPR league, kind of in need of a solid RB2. Should I trade Diggs and Hawkinson or Swift, Kittle, and Beckham?
I think I might.
Yeah. I mean,
Swift for Diggs.
If we had a draft right now, DeAndre Swift's getting drafted before Stephon Diggs for sure.
I don't agree.
I think he would be. I don't know if he would deserve to be.
Can we get a poll?
It's like a coin flip right now between Swift, Zeke, and Barkley in the fantasy community as like RB8. Who is it?
I'm gonna talk to my producer right now, Brian Schwartz. If we can just give me a thumbs up. I can see you. Can we get a poll on that? All right, cool. Thumbs up. PPR league. Who would you rather have rest of season? Stephon Diggs or DeAndre Swift? All right, excellent. Good stuff.
But I do think that is a good trade for you.
Yeah.
Regardless of what your answer on that is specifically.
Sure. Cup for Kamara. PPR.
I'd rather have Kamara still.
Wait, there's 3 P's. I don't know what the other one is. Percentage points per second.
Do you know that like Cooper Kupp has not just outscored all the wide receivers, he's outscored all the running backs by like 4 points per game so far?
Yeah, and he's good. I mean, we've seen a stretch where he was the number 1 wide receiver for 8 games, but he's not going to keep having a 35% target rate. He's not going to keep averaging 14 yards per catch. He's not going to keep averaging 11 yards per target. He's not going to keep scoring once every 6 touches, or targets. So
the first of those few things, I think you're probably right, but within the context of 14 more games, I'm far from certain.
I'm actually a little. I'd take Kamara, but I'm a little concerned about Kamara hitting his ceiling. Maybe things get better when Michael Thomas comes back, but they also have 2 pretty big offensive lineman injuries right now. They're not season enders, thankfully. But gosh, they suck. I mean, they're 2-1.
Well, he might be better in non-PPR than PPR right now.
Well, he still has a 23% target rate.
Or 22 passes a game.
Right. That's the thing is eventually they're going to be in a situation where they throw the ball more.
Yeah,
they've been in like
score a bunch of points on them this week.
Didn't they? But like they didn't even have a high pass rate when they got just trounced by the Panthers, right?
I think it was still close to 50-50, but it wasn't as extreme as it's been in the other games.
No, okay, let's move on here. Jamar Chase or Allen Robinson, half PPR. Chase on Thursday night. Probably not going to have, at this point, I would say, probably not going to have T. Higgins playing. I like Robinson a lot less than Chris and Heath, so I would definitely start Jamar Chase.
This week or rest of season?
This week. I'm thinking this week.
Yes, this week I would start Jamar Chase.
Yeah, it's like Jamar Chase, there's no chance that he can keep up this scoring on long plays every week, but he probably will this week because that's what Jacksonville does best.
You think I can get JJ Taylor for free? I'm big on him. Like a fab bid.
Yeah.
You know what? If you're big on him, go ahead and spend $1.
I was going to say spend 2. I would put $1 on him. Myles Gaskin and Juju for Clyde Edwards-Helaire at half PPR. Who wins?
Honestly, probably Clyde.
I'll take the Gaskin Juju side.
Wow. You guys don't agree on anything. I'm going to read this one again.
I don't know. Like,
just to make you agree.
Are we sure that Clyde's better than Gaskin rest of the season?
Yeah. Yeah,
I am. I'm not sure.
I am. But I'm very low on Gaskin rest of season at this point. I think he's someone you should be actively trying to sell before his
Has Clyde been better than Gaskin so far?
I would say because of last week. Yeah, I would guess yes. Go ahead, tell us. Half PPR?
Yes. Full PPR, he has been 3 points better. I would guess half PPR, it's about 7 points better, would be my guess.
Full PPR, I've got Gaskin 2 points better.
Oh, the fumbles. That's yeah.
Yes, Gaskin has been better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire so far this season.
That's fine.
Hey, listen, by the way, this show is called the Week 4 Waiver Wire live stream. Feel free to ask some waiver wire questions, but whatever you want. It is totally.
This is my first waiver wire live stream. Is it going off the rails just because I'm here, or do you normally just get a lot of very interesting waiver wire questions?
Well, technically, this isn't your first waiver wire stream because we've only had 2 waiver wire questions, I think. But someday maybe you'll be on an actual waiver wire stream. Last week it was like this because the waivers were so bad. The week before, I think we had a lot more waiver wire questions. It's 2 weeks in a row of kind of underwhelming.
Hey, you know what? I got a waiver wire take.
All right.
I think people are sleeping a little bit on Hunter Renfrow.
He's just
I understand Henry Ruggs and Bryan Edwards are much more exciting and fun, and they might get 50 yards in one play. But every year we have 2 or 3 Raiders wide receivers that we're more excited about, and every year Hunter Renfrow finishes the year with more targets and catches than any of them.
Yeah, but
now the offense is good, and they're throwing it to him a little bit more downfield. And I just think that he's probably going to be better than most people think. I've got him as a wide receiver 3 this week, and he is actually my second favorite waiver wire priority at wide receiver.
Yeah, he's fooled us before, but the difference is they're second in the NFL in pass attempts. I should probably look into how many regulation pass attempts they've had. They've played 3 games and 2 have gone to overtime. Hi, Chris. But they are throwing the ball. I mean, they're just more aggressive this year and better. They're better so far. Should I trade DK Metcalf and Josh Jacobs for Robert Woods and Joe Mixon in PPR? Metcalf and Jacobs for Woods and Mixon.
Yeah, I think I would do that. They've got a 60% pass rate, which is higher than normal for the Raiders and above league average, but not outlandish, the Raiders.
Okay. I'm also thinking that Josh Jacobs, maybe we should spend a second talking about him because I think, we were kind of, well, no, you weren't, Heath. I'm sorry. A lot of people were very down on him. And
love the fact that Josh Jacobs can get hurt and only play 1 game, and it turns out I'm right.
This is great. The biggest thing, though, is that the Raiders are 3-0 with wins over the Steelers, Ravens, and Dolphins. Steelers are 1-2. Dolphins are 1-2. They had Brissett. But the Raiders don't suck, and that's huge for Jacobs.
And 2 of the 3 definitively bad run defenses in the NFL are in their division, the Chargers and Chiefs.
Chiefs are just a crappy defense.
Yeah, the Raiders didn't suck last year, though.
Neither did Josh Jacobs. He was the number 10 running back in fantasy.
Oh, good enough of this. OBJ or Darrell Henderson at flex.
If Josh Jacobs repeats last year, he's a steal where he was drafted.
That is true.
Henderson for sure.
If he's healthy, yeah. I have Sony Michel as like wide receiver or running back 13 or 14, which feels really weird. Although I do have Beckham at 24, I believe, which is higher than I expected. But
I'm really interested to see the running back split because it was basically almost 100% Darrell Henderson.
And it was 100% Sony Michel yesterday.
I think this is a good question. Chris, what do you have the Browns pass rate out now after their first 3 weeks? Have you changed it at all for what you thought it was going to be at the beginning of the year?
Yeah. So what I've pretty much done is just taken last year's play rate, play splits and weighted that 3 versus what we've seen so far 1, because from some of the research I've seen, once you get to about week 4, that's when you can start to weight the current season stats roughly equally to last year. So I still have them at a 46.6% pass rate.
Okay, so you're a little bit You're a little bit higher than that. I that's my problem with Beckham, as I have him projected for a 24% target share this week, which is really good. Like that's a borderline number one wide receiver.
Yeah.
But I have Baker Mayfield at 28 passes, so it's not quite as exciting.
Yeah, I've got Beckham at 25% and Mayfield at 33 pass attempts. So
they're at Minnesota. So this could be a game where they have to throw a lot, but that's what you would have thought against the Chiefs, and they didn't throw a lot.
You can't. I don't think you can really make the Browns do what they like. You're not going to lose contact with you. They're not going to be down 2 scores. And when the Browns are down 1 score, they're still in the offense. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I think go rapid fire here. Sorry, let's go rapid fire. We're way behind on the questions. Jacoby Myers and Jamal Williams half PPR.
Williams.
I think so. Yeah.
Tim Patrick or Cole Beasley PPR.
Beasley.
I do have Beasley ranked a little higher.
It pains me.
Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts. Is it bad to pick up Cordero Patterson and have 3 Falcons players?
You should not be making roster decisions based on how many players you have on a specific team.
But is it bad to pick up Cordero Patterson?
I think you can pick up Cordero Patterson. I think he's probably a pretty useful fantasy option.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at the other running backs that are out there, like J.J. Taylor, Peyton Barber, who may not even, if Jacobs could be back this week. Should I drop Robbie Anderson for Cole Beasley?
I think that's such a low upside move. Because, let's say Cole Beasley repeats his career season from 2020. He was wide receiver 28 while playing every game, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, Robbie Anderson was wide receiver 26 last year while playing every game.
That's fair.
In his career year. I
20.
I'm sorry. I probably wouldn't do this, but if I had an 0-3 team, I don't have any 0-3 teams. I would and needed the points this week. I think it's the move you make.
You know what? I didn't check one score yesterday. I think I do have an 0-3 team. I'm going to find out right now.
I have, if you count my wife's team where she's, having me she's asking me for advice. I have 3 0-3 teams.
Oh, well,
I'm still 4 games over 500 overall. It's just that those 3 teams have been really, really bad.
Yeah, 0-3, you loser. Gosh,
there you go.
A loser team. Casey Ryback is my team name. The real Casey Ryback would never be 0-3.
The funny thing is that I brought up and humble bragged about the no 0-3 teams. I have an 0-2-1 team.
Congratulations.
All right, here we go. Higbee or Goddard rest of season?
Higbee.
I'll go Higbee.
Should I drop Marvin Jones for Jacoby Myers?
No. Mac Jones, yes.
Oh,
yeah, Mac Jones.
All right, do that.
What other M Jones are there?
Maurice Jones.
Mike Jones?
I don't know who Mike Jones is. Should I?
I'm certain there was one.
Have PPR. Start Austin Hooper or pick up a waiver wire guy.
Dalton Schultz would be my preference.
Would you like to know the poll results so far?
Yeah.
Who would you rather have rest of season? Stephon Diggs, 58%. Deandre Swift, 42%.
There have been 6 Mike Jones in the NFL. The last one played in 2002. The first one played in 1977.
Oh, I know all of them. I just didn't know if there was a current one that I was missing. Should I trade Antonio Gibson for Robert Woods and Tony Pollard, half PPR?
I would not. And how about this factoid? The last Mike Jones to play in the NFL was born in Kansas City on my birthday, April 15th, 10 years before I was born.
Wow.
Wait, who?
The last Mike Jones to play in the NFL.
Who?
Mike Jones.
Thanks.
Do I start Chuba Hubbard or James Robinson this week?
I have James Robinson ahead.
Chuba.
Keenan Allen or DeAndre Hopkins rest of season?
Oh, I'm still going Hopkins.
Wow, there were 2 Mike Jones defensive players at the same time. I think they both played on the Rams at the same time one year.
Wait, who?
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen. Okay, Hopkins for Chris Keenan. I'll break the tie. I'm going to go Keenan Allen. in any half or full PPR?
I mean, I think it's an interesting question. Like, what is the most scary?
How
The
many
fact that
by
DeAndre
Kirk?
Hopkins has an 18% target share so far this year, or the fact that Calvin Ridley has an 8.8 average depth of target, or the fact that AJ Brown is hurt.
Yeah, the third one.
So I'm struggling with the Hopkins thing because there really hasn't been a game. I guess the Vikings game was the only one where they, had to throw. And I don't know how much to take from his low target share so far.
Have you adjusted at all from your expectation?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think it would be silly not to.
Well, I just love what I'm seeing from Herbert, and he's peppering both of those guys with targets. So I've just got no issue with Keenan Allen.
I mean, it's hard to take the number 2 on one team over the number 1 on another team. But
there's a weird. I mean, Hopkins is technically, I think, 4th on that team or 3rd in target share. But there's a weird thing going on with the Chargers that I want to see what it looks like moving forward, which is it's kind of the DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson thing where Allen has been the possession, move the chains guy, and Williams was the deep threat guy. And now it's kind of flipped. Allen's getting more deep targets than Williams is. I don't know if that's going to sustain itself moving forward.
Okay. By the way, in full PPR last year, they were only separated. Hopkins had half a point more per game. It's not nothing, but it's close enough. All right. Let's go to our next question. This is a good one. What is Michael Thomas's PPR value when he returns? It's a big time question.
We don't know. Right now, I would guess wide receiver 14.
That seems reasonable.
Sell high on Saquon Barkley.
I think you should buy high on Saquon Barkley.
I don't know what somebody's offering you for him. There's a sell high scenario.
Sure.
Like if somebody's going to give you Zeke and pieces or Jonathan Taylor and pieces, I think he's right in that range. I think if I was drafting today, I'd probably take him around 11 to 13. I'd probably wait until 13 just so I could say second round Saquon.
Chase, okay, listen, it's Jamar Chase. We got that
yep.
one. All right. Yeah, you know what? I'll go ahead and click this awful name. Who's playing in a 16 PPR league? Is dropping Robert Woods for Brandon Cooks a good move?
You could just read it. You don't have to
publicize the name.
I mean, you say we were way behind on questions? Why not just pick a better question?
Don't drop Robert Woods for Brandon Cooks. Is that the answer?
You probably have a worse player than Robert Woods.
Brandon
I mean, not right, like not currently performing worse than Robert Woods.
I don't know. It's six teams. Who cares? That question was hot piss. Should I drop Evan Ingram?
Wow.
Sorry. I just read what's in front of me.
Come on, Eli.
Practices.
Why did he do that, Eli, man? I don't even know what the context was.
I don't know, but it was really funny watching them apologize.
Should I drop Evan Ingram for Dalton Schultz, Dawson Knox, or Tyler Conklin?
I'd rather have Schultz.
Yeah, but I do have Ingram ranked like 14th at tight end.
Yeah.
It feels real dumb.
I haven't got to watch any of the Giants game. I can't wait to.
Me either.
Looking forward to it. But was Evan Ingram's play as bad as his stat line? He had 6 targets for 21 yards and lost a fumble?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime you can start someone where the home fans were cheering every time he left the field, I think you've got to do it. But also, he might be the 3rd best pass catcher on that team in week 4.
Yeah.
He almost certainly is, actually.
Colin Johnson, for real.
Should I drop Tyson Williams to pick up Chuba Hubbard?
Yep. I would prefer not, but...
No, hell no, you should not do that.
I would much rather start Hubbard
what do you mean?
this week.
You could have 1 week, maybe 2 weeks of Chuba Hubbard.
There may be 0 more weeks of Tyson Williams.
They're going to get back to him. They almost lost to the line.
Right, but the thing is, like, yes, I agree with you. That seems likely to happen. But I also would have bet a lot of money that they weren't going to go and give him 5 carries last week.
And there is...
What do you want me to say? Like,
there's a very good reason. It's very understandable from my perspective. Like, I know we watch football and say, ooh, he run fast. Play him more. But
Okay,
it's
but enough about
very-
Tony Pollard.
it's very easy to understand how John Harbaugh might think these professional football players for the last 10 years, I would rather have playing running back for me than this former college backup.
It's not like Latavius Murray had a ton of carries. He had 7 carries. They just didn't run the football. It's not like he lost his.
Oh, they
job.
ran the football. Lamar just had 9 and
Lamar scrambled a lot, yeah. But
Well, I think the bigger concern would be Tyson had 5 carries. He was on the field for 21 pass plays, and he blocked on 11 of those. So he also wasn't running routes.
if we think a guy has, like, we're hoping if things go well, he gets 13 to 15 carries, then what do you think the reasonable floor is?
Heath,
It's not 11.
If things go well for Chuba Hubbard,
He's gonna have 20 touches this week.
getting 3 touches by week 6. I mean,
I might get 2 wins.
but I'm not super convinced that you're getting 2 wins. Look, if you're 0-3, it's an obvious. I don't know that you have to drop Tyson Williams, but you have to. If that's the worst player, then you do it.
I think the point is Williams is droppable.
I don't think so, but I understand why you're saying that.
I just think Chuba is a win or 2 is worth it.
If you're going to get, to me, it's like if this were Alexander Madison, it'd be one thing. I just don't know. Royce Freeman is not necessarily going to be completely invisible here.
No, I've got him projected for like 8 touches.
Yeah, so I don't know. All right, should I drop Waddle for Renfro or Bateman?
No.
Sorry. All right.
No, Waddle's the 305 version of Deontay Johnson now.
Yeah,
That's Miami's area code.
I thought he was expensive. Laviska Shenault.
Okay. Shenault or Myers?
Myers.
If you have to start someone this week, Myers.
All right, we're going to take a real quick break here for a quick promo. When we come back, more of your questions, waiver wire or whatever they are. We'll be right back.
Joining Inside the NFL on Paramount Plus is a huge honor. We got James Brown, Brandon Marshall, Michael Irvin, Ray Lewis, Phil Simms. Stacked.
Inside the NFL. New episodes streaming Tuesdays exclusively on Paramount Plus.
All right. I am answering questions that were submitted about 20 minutes ago, so I'm going to scroll down.
Was that Julian Edelman?
Yeah. Okay. I bet he's really good.
I didn't recognize him.
I saw him once in a parking lot. That happened. Yeah.
I'm
Cool
just
story,
going to
Hansel.
assume that, like Tom Brady, he's going to become much more likable after he leaves the Patriots.
I love Brady. Yeah, you're right about that. Ayuk, Cooks, or Tim Patrick? Non-PPR.
Cooks and Patrick.
Yeah, Cooks and Patrick.
Dak and Hollywood Brown for Patrick Mahomes.
No.
You'd rather have what? Dak and Hollywood?
I'd much rather have Mahomes.
Oh. Well, why'd you say? I mean, I thought he was giving up Dak and Hollywood to get Mahomes.
Okay. Yes, I would do that.
I think I would rather have Mahomes, but man, if Marquise Brown dropped 1 fewer pass last week, we're talking about him like we're talking about Mike Williams right now.
Yeah. Would you sell high on Jamar Chase?
Yes.
No.
You gotta sell high enough.
Yeah.
I wouldn't accept Robert Woods for him. I don't know that I'd take Allen Robinson for him.
How about an injured AJ Brown?
I would rather have AJ Brown for sure.
Only if I'm 3-0. I'm afraid Allen Robinson I'm not. When has AJ Brown last been confirmed healthy? Like, he was awesome last year and played through all kinds of injuries, had multiple offseason procedures, showed up at camp hurt, was hurt all through camp, and is now week to week.
It was when he finished as our wide receiver 7 last year. Well, before that, because he was, like you said, he was hurt the whole year. So, like, literally the whole year. I think that injury was week 1.
Yeah. Pittman or Ayuk this week?
Pittman.
I could only drop Tyson Williams and Trey Sermon. Should I drop either of them for Chuba Hubbard?
I'm fine dropping Trey Sermon.
I would rather drop Tyson than Trey Sermon. I don't think that, well, you have Henderson and you don't know if he's going to play. I'd probably drop Tyson for Hubbard.
Okay. Which two should I pick up off the waiver wire? Beasley, Claypool, Patrick Myers, Renfro, Ruggs.
Claypool and Patrick.
I was going to say Claypool and Beasley.
Okay, definitely Claypool.
Yes.
Pittman or Ayuk this week? Did we answer that? Pittman, yeah.
Yep.
I do think it was like the clarification we got today from the Steelers, and we don't have it ranked this way, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do by the end of the day tomorrow. It sounds like both Juju and Deontay will be playing this week.
Okay.
So Claypool might be back to a 15% target share.
Should I trade Aaron Rodgers for Kirk Cousins?
This is the kind of thing where I don't see any reason to do it either way. Like, I'd rather have Rodgers rest of season, but it's a quarterback in a 10-team league. Why are you trading them?
Well, the reason is because he's 0-3 and he's just trying to find a way to get a win this week. And if he I would say, like, seriously, because I think they're close enough. If you like Cousins more this week and you feel like he gives you a better chance to win, I would do it.
Sure. I do have Rodgers ranked higher this week.
Okay. Keep two rest of season. Gesicki, Gerald Everett, Schultz, and Knox.
I have to keep two of them?
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep both of them.
I think I would just keep Schultz.
I'd keep Gesicki and Schultz out of those two.
Sure.
I think I'd gamble on Knox.
You've kind of had a thing for the Buffalo tight end since the beginning of the offseason.
The Buffalo tight end is the definition. It's like the platonic ideal of the touchdown or bust tight end.
I think there might be a little bit. Well, look, they have the second most pass attempts in the NFL. Or maybe the fourth. They've scored the second most points, something like that. Like, you're getting a lot of volume, so his target share is not going to be great, but hopefully he gets more targets. I just know that their GM said, we need more production from the tight ends. We played against Travis Kelsey. We need that. We're not going to get Kelsey. That we need that type of player. That's why they were linked to tight ends throughout the draft process. It didn't happen. They are hoping Dawson Knox takes that step. There's a little bit of momentum here.
To Chris's point, Dawson Knox's first 3 games project out to like a carbon copy of Robert Tonyan. It's for him to be, he's going to have 65 targets this year. And if he catches 50 passes, it will be amazing. He's going to be probably at 500 yards. You're hoping he scores 8 to 10 touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, he had 288 yards last year.
No, I get it. He obviously has to earn a bigger role, and that won't be easy. They're pretty loaded at receiver, but he's caught a touchdown in 2 straight games. Maybe this is a launching point for him. I just know that they want production from that spot, and they're going to throw maybe twice as many touchdowns as the Miami Dolphins this year. And for Gesicki, I know he had a good game last week, but his track record is before this year, when Devonte Parker and Preston Williams were both healthy, Gesicki was invisible, basically. He needed an injury to Preston Williams to be good. Now he's got Parker, Waddle, and Will Fuller. So I think last week was a fluke for Gesicki, personally.
In Adam's defense, and I hate to be seeing.
Yeah, what are you talking about right now?
His last 9 games, Dawson Knox does have 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He hasn't topped 51 yards in any of those games, but he's scoring a lot of touchdowns currently.
And I think that's like an important distinction to make. It's just maybe it's more of my process. I'd rather have Everett or Schultz and Gesicki over Robert Tonyan too.
Yes.
I'm not ever ranking Robert Tonyan as a starter, and I fully recognizing that probably 6 or 7 weeks this season he's going to finish as a top 12 tight end. But I don't know how you
top
would
5.
guess. Maybe.
All right. I have the first waiver wire priority. Would you pick up Hubbard or Ayuk?
What's your
Hubbard.
record? What do you need this week?
That's fair.
All right. So there you go. Based on that, should I drop Elijah Mitchell and or Ayuk?
I would prefer not to.
Mitchell. I mean, there's a chance he's just going to be the starting running back for a while when he comes back.
Like, if Trey Sermon doesn't have a good game in week 4, I think Elijah Mitchell is just going to be the starter in week 5 until maybe late November when Jeff Wilson might come back.
He might play this week, Elijah Mitchell. So
sure.
That hasn't been ruled out. I have Beckham and Kareem Hunt. Which one should I trade?
I think Hunt probably has more perceived value.
I want, yeah. I mean, I would be willing to shop both. There were some encouraging things about that Beckham performance, and I don't think there will generally be enough pass volume to make him a real difference maker. So I would be willing to shop both.
Cordell Patterson or Chase Edmonds?
Oh, Edmonds.
Yeah.
Sutton
I think
or
you should
Cole?
buy high on and for the Fantasy Football Today newsletter tomorrow. I'm writing a buy high, sell high, all that stuff. And Chase Edmonds is a buy high for me. I really like what he's been doing so far. He's like a diet DeAndre Swift so far.
Yeah, but
The only
Hold on.
huge edge Swift has is that Swift is going to get quite a bit more red zone work, I think.
Do you mean
than
Patterson?
Edmonds. No, Swift. I thought you said he was a diet DeAndre Swift.
Oh, yeah,
I was
yeah,
saying
yeah.
you're-
That's what I mean. Yeah.
right, but I mean that's the thing about Edmonds is I like him. He's really good, but Connor's the goal line guy.
Yes,
Edmonds
but
had a chance, nearly got in. I know that, but for the most part, Connor and Murray are going to score the rushing touchdowns.
yes, but Edmonds did score a touchdown once every 30 touches last season. I think he has 47 without a touchdown so far this season. So if he just does what he did last season, I mean, that would be like an 8 touchdown pace for the season at his current usage. Now, obviously, he may not get 10 carries and 5 catches every game, but the way they're using him right now, he looks like a must-start running back to me.
Adam, better Chase Edmonds moniker after 3 weeks. Diet DeAndre Swift or rich man's Mike Davis?
Diet DeAndre Swift.
Because like profile, like touch wise and yardage wise and touchdown wise, he's much closer to Davis.
Yeah, diet.
I'm sorry I compare to anyone to DeAndre Swift. Heath.
I know,
I apologize.
I once
I'm gonna get my cat of nine tails and flog myself for the crime
I was just
of having
trying to
put
bring
anyone.
Mike Davis into the discussion.
Oh, thank you. He's very noble of you. All right, listen, let's go. We'll do another rapid fire.
I'm glad Mike Davis got mentioned in a fantasy discussion this week.
Who should I pick up on waivers? Emmanuel Sanders or Tim Patrick?
Sanders.
Should I trade Mike Evans for Rob Gronkowski?
No.
I would not.
I picked up Kirk Cousins. Do you think I'm cool to drop Ryan Tannehill at this point?
It's fine.
Yeah.
You don't need to have 2 quarterbacks.
And you definitely don't need to have 2 of the almost exact same guy.
Sutton or Claypool?
It depends on if Juju or Johnson play.
Right. If both play, it's Sutton for me.
Trying to predict touchdown rate is kind of ridiculous.
It's completely ridiculous, yes.
But
which is why I've been fading Adam Thielen for 3 years.
It's useful. It's useful to point out when a touchdown rate is out of whack with expectations and when a player's fantasy ranking is highly influenced by that. Like trying to ignore touchdown rate would have led you to believe that Robert Tonyan might be a top 5 tight end this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Hollywood Brown or Michael Pittman rest of season?
Hollywood for me.
Ooh, that one is really tough. I think I would lean Pittman.
All right, this one has DeAndre Swift in it. I traded DeAndre Swift for
F.
Oh, this actually might be enough for Miles Sanders, Devonte Smith, and Nyheim Hines.
I think it's bad.
Yeah, D+. It's not an F. If it was a 14 or 16 team league, then it might even be a C-.
Yeah.
10-team half PPR, Henry, Melvin Gordon, and Higbee, or Jonathan Taylor. Okay. So Derrick Henry, Melvin Gordon, Tyler Higbee, or Jonathan Taylor, Travis Kelsey, and Antonio Brown.
I would take the Kelsey side.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Derrick Henry.
Henry, right. There's Henry.
Yeah, no, Derrick Henry's really good. He's my number 1 running back this week, which is a surprise to me.
They're throwing it to him.
That's a surprise to you? He's Derrick freaking Henry. Christian,
Right, but
No, the surprise is that a fantasy analyst is ranking him number 1 because all Derrick Henry has done is made people look silly. Yeah, I'd take the Kelsey side, but man, I don't want to trade Derrick Henry.
I mean, Kelsey so far at least has been a bigger advantage in fantasy than we even thought he would be.
Yeah, that's crazy. Would you trade Mixon and McLaurin for McCaffrey and Debo?
If I was 3-0, I would.
I'd have to be 3-0.
Should I trade Hollywood Brown?
Not for nothing.
I'd trade him for Robert Woods or Allen Robinson.
Yeah, I think I would do that too. But I really like what we've seen from him.
You think Jameis Winston will be startable once Michael Thomas returns?
I think he can be streamable.
But
Look at Cliff. Doesn't Cliff look like just like the nicest guy?
He's got a good energy.
Yeah, I really like it, Cliff. I like what you're bringing. Should I burn the first waiver on Brady or Hubbard?
Tom Brady, the Buccaneers quarterback.
I'm just going to type Brady into the database to make sure I'm not forgetting anyone.
I don't think – I think Brady will be better than Stafford rest of season, but I don't think that's enough of an upgrade for me to overlook a must-add running back like Hubbard.
Oh my.
did I hear, Adam, after you said that you wouldn't trade Tom Brady for like a number one running back, that you benched Tom Brady
Wait,
for
you heard that wrong. You heard that wrong.
Okay, you wouldn't trade Tom Brady for
Saquon Barkley.
A guy that
No. He said he wouldn't do he would need Saquon plus for Tom Brady.
You wouldn't trade Tom Brady for Saquon.
I basically said I did say that. I basically said that I wouldn't leave my team without an elite quarterback. That was
right.
But I would for a number one running back. But this was before last week, and I don't know if much has changed. I didn't really consider Barkley. If it had been Zeke or something like that, Aaron Jones, of course I would have. But I didn't really feel as comfortable with Barkley to give up Brady because I.
So you view Tom Brady like a second-round pick now?
No,
but you benched him.
No, it's different. I benched him for Jalen Hurts against the Cowboys. He had the Rams. I thought that was going to be probably his worst game of the season. And he scored 30.
So if we were having a draft right now, would you take Tom Brady or DeAndre Swift first?
I would take DeAndre Swift. But
would you trade Tom Brady for DeAndre Swift? These two things can't both be. They can't have different answers.
That's not true because you don't have to draft. See, the thing is, I think, like I said, I think you need to have a great to elite quarterback. You can win without one. But if you don't have one and you're relying on Sam Darnold and Teddy Bridgewater and guys like that on the waiver wire, I don't think you're going to go very far. So there are enough of them in the draft. It doesn't have to be Brady. Where I would take Swift first. But if I had Brady and he was my only quarterback, I don't know that I would trade him for Swift. He's close because I can't leave myself without that star quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had Brady and Hurts, like I do in a couple of leagues,
what if
I would make that move?
What if your team was without that star running back?
Then if I had two bad then I would take Swift.
Like you're gonna have a hole somewhere.
Not necessarily. I mean, it's the thing. Like if I'm good at running back and I don't want to lose those points at quarterback.
Would you trade Brady for Kelsey?
Oh yeah, of course.
I don't know.
No, it was more. I think it was more about Barkley last week than Brady, to be honest with you.
And Swift this week.
I'm not 100% in on Swift. I mean, let's not forget what Swift was in week 2. Okay, so I want one more great week of Swift before I anoint him this fantasy savior. I want one more.
I have not anointed him anything.
I think you've anointed him. All right, rapid fire to end the show. Bills defense or Bengals defense this week?
Bills.
Yeah.
We're going to end the show a little early and just leave this up for 8 minutes.
It's possessive. Should have had the apostrophe.
Okay, super flex.
Maybe it was an argument about Devonte Adams.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's right. We had a great argument about Devonte Adams. Kyler, Tannehill, and Darnold. Do I start Darnold over Tannehill this week?
I would not.
No.
Darnold. I don't think the Jets have the Jets given up a touchdown to a wide receiver this year. Oh yeah, they have. Yeah. All right. Never mind. Chase Claypool or Josh Jacobs?
I think I'd rather have Jacobs.
I'd rather have Jacobs.
Sorry. Read that. Do you think Trey Lance gets to start soon? Is he worth holding?
I mean, halftime of week 3 was the moment if it was going to happen. If not that moment, I think their bye is in week 6, so it'd be after the bye.
I just think most people, before we got into this craziness of training camp, viewed Trey Lance as the least ready. Like
Yes.
huge upside, but the least ready. And what we've seen through 3 weeks is that Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Justin Fields are not ready.
Hey, Mac Jones too.
And Mac Jones also.
Let's spread the.
I didn't really include him in that conversation. I didn't never. He might be as ready as he's ever going to get.
But also, Trey Lance, like, there was like a big deal.
We gotta go. We got 5.
All right, we gotta go.
Should I drop Rondale Moore for Tim Patrick, Sanders, or Beasley?
Unless you really need a starter this week, I would just hang on to Moore.
Is it okay to fab for Hubbard for trade bait? I'm in first place.
Yeah. I did this last year with Giovanni Bernard, and I got a first-round pick for him when Mixon got hurt. So, yeah.
Cool. Start Sutton, Allen Robinson, or Beckham this week?
Robinson.
I think no, Sutton for me.
Oh my gosh, this has to be a win, right? I know there's some concerns.
A++++.
Yep, like it a lot.
Rank these 5. Gaskin, it's a half PPR. Gaskin, Waddle, Bryan Edwards, Renfro, Cordero Patterson.
Gaskin, Waddle, Patterson, Renfro, Edwards.
Gaskin, Waddle, Renfro, Patterson, Edwards.
Christian Kirk or Rashad Bateman rest of season?
Kirk.
I'm fine with dropping Kirk. He might be better, but I don't think it matters.
10-team PPR league. I have the first waiver claim this week. I have Zeke, Jonathan Taylor, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Jamal Williams. Should I claim Chuba? I don't think you're going to be dropping Edwards-Helaire, but right, like don't drop Edwards-Helaire. But if you're just, if the question is just claim Chuba Hubbard to start over Edwards-Helaire, then what's the answer?
I would start Hubbard over Edwards-Helaire, but it's not such an obvious upgrade that I would use the first waiver claim. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't drop any of these players for him.
Now, if the first waiver claim resets every week, then I would drop Hubbard. But don't drop any of these players, right? Let's see. Sell or stash Brandon Cooks.
You can sell him. I mean, he's got a 48% air yards share and a 35% target share. He's probably not going to keep that up.
Let's go, Chris. Me and you. Jameis Winston for Cooks. QB.
Offer me a good quarterback, and I will trade with you. But you're offering me a guy who might get benched for a player I already have, who was, by the way, my highest scoring quarterback last week already. I might have to start Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston this week if I make that trade, if Andy Dalton and Justin Fields can't play.
Hey, you know what?
So no, it's not worth it.
So what's your bid on Nick Foles going to be?
I've bid on 3 different quarterbacks so far in that 2 QB league. I've been beaten on a tiebreaker twice on Taylor Heineke and someone else.
Really?
So
that's tough.
It's been a real stupid year.
All right, here we go. CMC owner. Gaskin and Sermon are starters. Would you drop 50% of your fab on Chuba?
I have Hubbard ranked higher than either of them.
If you're 0-3, I think it's worth it.
I think you might have to go more than that.
Yeah.
Especially as the McCaffrey owner or manager. Sutton, we like Sutton.
Yep.
Let's see. We read that one. Conklin or Gesicki from waivers?
I have Conklin ranked higher.
I do too, but I really expect on Sunday night to say, fooled you.
Well, also Mike Gesicki.
Yeah.
Is Deontay Johnson the number 1 priority over Hubbard? Non-PPR.
Yes.
Non-PPR.
Yeah, even on non-PPR.
Probably, but I want to go. But Adam, you called Deontay Johnson a star wide receiver the other day. You said they were without their star wide receiver. Deontay Johnson is not a star wide receiver yet. He's a guy who's had the ball thrown to him a lot.
He is their number 1 wide receiver.
So I actually think he could be a star wide receiver.
But he has done absolutely zero to classify himself as a star.
I think he benefits from playing with washed up Ben.
I don't know. I don't know who actually benefits from that. But all right.
Najee Harris in week 3.
Yeah, would you trade Adam Thielen for Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
I think you can get more. I think I would, but you can get more.
No, I don't think I would. I just decided that Adam Thielen's going to score lots more touchdowns than Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Well, yeah.
I traded Hopkins for Mike Williams and Cooper Kupp. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Way to go. They might both be better than him the rest of the season.
Najee Harris and Chase Edmonds for Nick Chubb and Myles Gaskin. What side do you like better?
Harris.
I think so. I probably have Harris ranked higher than Chubb rest of season.
But you've got Edmonds a lot higher than Gaskin.
That feels dumb.
Yeah, but you don't like Gaskin and you love Edmonds, so yeah, you have to.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Is Zach Moss taking over the Buffalo backfield, and is he worth a high waiver?
He might get 57% of the snaps moving forward.
Yeah, I would have 0-degree faith in saying that Zach Moss is taking over the backfield.
He should be added. He should be 100% rostered after this week.
Yeah.
Adam Simpson's poster, Heath's Kansas City cereal, or Chris's guitars?
I mean, my guitars are clearly worth more money. So if you're talking about who you would rather rob, it's clearly the guitars over the Hot Topic poster.
He has a lot of guitars. It is an overwhelming amount of guitars for New York City department.
I only see 4.
It's 5.
Yeah.
And there's a mandolin right there.
Should I drop LaVisca for Tim Patrick?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe. Yes. No. Maybe.
For?
I don't.
I said no.
Oh, you said no. No. Yes, you should. Yes, I'm saying the answer should be yes. Drop
Chenault has more upside, but I don't know if that upside's real.
All right, guys. Last question here. Should I trade Devonte Smith for Odell Beckham?
I think I would rather have Beckham rest of season. It's tough though, because rookie wide receivers as a population do play better and later in the season, but Devonte Smith's already their number 1 target, so I don't know how much better he can really get.
Like Tim Patrick's got like a month left where he gets to play the role that he did last year when he averaged 50 yards receiving a game. And then Jerry Jeudy's going to be there and he's going to be the number 3 at best.
Yeah, but we like their passing game more this year.
But
a lot more.
Out, so fine. It's not a. I just like. What are people doing with Chenault? I don't know, but
I don't know.
It's a long-term play to Chenault over Patrick.
I think he's been better than him in the short term as well.
No, he hasn't. Patrick's had 2 good games in a row. What has Chenault done?
Well, no, Patrick's had 3 good games in a row, but it's been like 40 yards and a touchdown twice, and then yesterday was 6 and 60 or something. I mean, he has been better than Chenault, almost certainly.
This has got to be a terrible Heath take. All right, let's see. We're going to end on this. PPR fantasy points. Chenault not in the top 50. Tim
He's 40. Oh, sorry, I was looking at last year.
30 He has 41 points. Should I hit next page or last page for Chenault? 23.4 points for Chenault. Thank you, everybody.
He is just behind Allen Robinson and just ahead of AJ Brown.
Oh wow, that's really funny actually. Thanks everybody for watching. Really appreciate it. We're actually going to go record Fantasy Football Today in 5 with Dave Richard very soon. So check my Twitter feed. I'll send you the YouTube link. Thanks to Brian for producing and for Heath and Chris. And we'll see you tomorrow morning on the podcast.